A Lamp Unto My Feet by Walter C. Lanyon. Read by Electric Mud Puddles. Chapter 16. Revelation. Every man is a teacher after one fashion or another, and many are teachers of the word of Jesus, of Buddha, of Muhammad. All teaching is of and about the subject. It is eternally the letter, dead and cold. Fused with the enthusiasm of the teacher, it becomes alive for the time, but lapses again into the dead, cold thing. Hence, thousands today find themselves well stocked with the letter of truth, and yet are unable to make manifest the promises that have so richly been made to man. Physician, heal thyself, is the command of spirit to the teacher. What have ye in your house? Is the searching question. The teacher at last learns that if he will teach, he must live from his own words. He must eat them, and many times he is unable to do this. He is on an endless treadmill. He traces over and over the same monotonous pattern. He hears himself reiterating the same words and phrases year after year, and like a worn-out gramophone record, he finally gives out, never having got within the sight of the goal he talked so much about. Comes the awakening to man, and if he be unafraid, he will find that the Christ within is not a teacher, but a revelator of that which is and eternally has been, that instead of teaching of and about healing, prosperity, and happiness, he is revealing these true states of mind as inescapable, yea, as inescapable as the opposite states were formerly. He then stops the silly attempting to set things right in a universe that is run by law and order, and enters in upon the process of revelation. He reveals the inner things, the secret things that have been so from the beginning of the universe. He reveals, shows forth that which is true and perfect. He is no more concerned about the letter, knowing that when the revelation is once recognized, the letter will take care of itself. He is not concerned about the outcome, knowing that a rubber ball thrown against a stone wall will return without any effort on his part. He knows that a word released from the center of his being is bound to accomplish whereunto it is sent. And knowing this, he is not concerned or worried about the outcome. Most of us have spent endless hours trying to make the return action something different from the sending action of the ball. But the ball can only return with the same force with which it was released. There is no chance for the word to go astray or to fail to find its own. All this is under the divine direction, which is above the frailty of human law and order. Human law changes constantly, but the divine law and order remaineth, and nothing is added to it, and nothing is taken away. Gradually, confidence is established in the God power, which is constantly revealing itself to the one who is ready to lay aside the human accoutrements and accept the glorious power of the sons of God. Confident to stand, having done all, having recognized the eternal rightness of the God universe, he is unafraid to rest. He pushes the borders of his tent farther out into the glorious new fields of untried expression, and finds to his joyous surprise that new avenues are opening up to him. Undreamed of possibilities lie before him, for at last he has come to a place where he believes in the reality of the kingdom as here and now, and himself a revelator. To the revelator comes the understanding of the unconditioned power, that indescribable thing which is seen to operate in a supernatural way, and yet which could never be anything but natural. That power which set aside the laws of the three-dimensional plane without regarding them as existent. To a child playing a game, a chalk line may represent a prison, and as long as he abides under the rules of the game, he will act in accord with that and will accept it as a barrier to his freedom. When he is through with the game, however, he drops the whole thing and finds himself free, and of course realizes at the same time that he was never anything else but free. His acceptance of that which constituted a prison was all that made one for him. To the grown-up child, many prisons exist in just the same way. He accepts certain limitations of health, wealth, and happiness and is hypnotized to the belief, and eventually he finds himself helpless. If he suddenly comes to an understanding of himself as the Son of the living God and reveals to himself the freedom of the Son, then there happens in his life a miracle or the working of some supernatural power. But in reality, it is merely the outpicturing of a natural state of the Son of the living God, recognized, revealed. I am a revelator of the living Word. I am the revelator of the living Word, and I am, therefore, not surprised that the thing decreed shall come to pass. A stone thrown into the air will certainly come down without any aid from the one who threw it. So the word of the revelator will certainly return to him freighted with results, and he will not have to care about its return. That will automatically take place. My own shall come unto me by a sure and certain way. Why worry then? And some will say, what? Am I to do nothing? And if you have not gone further than to ask this question, I can only advise you to drop the book in the nearest wastebasket. It is not for you. O glorious revelator within me, let thy light shine out through the beliefs that have bound me. When you arrive at the consciousness that you are ready to lay your Isaac on the altar, then you find that it is not necessary to give up anything in order to have heaven here and now. But the willingness to give up your Isaac without a question or doubt, entering into the proposition, can come only to the one who believes actually in God, believes that there is a God who expresses, regardless of whether he prays or not, believes in a God who could not do other than express eternally of his bountiful nature. Understanding God in this fashion will make it easy to let go of symbols in order to acquire the reality. Many people believe, or at least they act as if they did, that God is perfectly static until they tell him what to do, what to get rid of, or what to bring into manifestation. And for this reason, they recite long man-made prayers, when the true prayer is, be still, be still. This is one of the last revelations to come to man because he will not listen. He is so busy telling the world what is wrong with it and peddling the truth for a price that he has no time to be still. He feels within himself that if he were to be still, the world would forget him. And so he has to keep shouting to the world how much he knows about the truth. But surely the revelation of the silence will eventually come into being, and man will find that by being still, something will be told him which will, from then on, settle all questions regarding the right course to pursue. A revelation as deep as the infinite will be made unto the still soul. Something will take place within which will burst the shell of human consciousness and free him into a new and finer growth expression. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased, was addressed to a soul that could be silent. Have you ever been called that? Do you want to be? Then be still. Cease the chattering of and about and be still. For when you hear those words pronounced over you, you can rest assured that your expression from that time on will be pleasing in the sight of God, and nothing else matters. Though 10,000 fall at thy right hand, it shall not come nigh thee, only means that the still soul has heard and is able to understand the indestructible nature of spirit. No man from the standpoint of reason can bring it about. That and a lot of other things that man has failed to demonstrate come within the revelation of the silence. Be still. I have many things to say to you when you are ready to listen, when you are ready to be still. When, in the stillness, I tell you the promises, then they are ready for fulfillment. When I say to you in the silence, or rather when I impress you with such a thing as, my grace is sufficient for thee, you will from that time know that you are no more under the law of former human beliefs, but you are under grace. And this will be a new secret to you, a precious secret. It will be so wonderful that you would no sooner think of repeating it just to make conversation than a fearful banker would leave his vault open overnight. Silence will come to you, and with it the gold, and with it too precious truth that must not be cast to the swine of human thought. It will become so obvious that it will not be necessary for you to relate what it has done for you. Little trick demonstrations may please the child, but revelation is quite another thing. I have many things to say to you when the burning fiery coal has touched your lips and you are still. I have something to tell you about time and space that no man shall write on paper, but which I, through the man Jesus, showed forth to those who had eyes. Instantly is not soon enough for me to act, but it is the shortest measure the human mind can grasp. Be still. I have things to tell you. I will never leave you. I will speak to you through any and every channel. Fear not. I know your every need, and will bring it into manifestation in the easiest possible manner when you are ready to see me. Go out then and consider the lily. You must be still when you consider a thing, but consider the lily, and if you have seen what I have shown you there, you will not be running about like a ship without a rudder, asking first one and then another what to do and how to do it, and getting a different formula from each one, only to become a mass of complexities and confusion. Be still. I shall eventually be able to show you some of the mysteries. Beloved, when you are still and you hear me say, my grace is sufficient for thee, then will you know the joy of the giver of good. Then will you see the veil rent asunder, and you will stand before the throne of your own soul, nothing lacking, not asking favors, but appropriating the gifts of the infinite Godhead, which pour out upon you in such abundance and secret name, and in a twinkling all shall be changed. Do you hear? I am speaking to you as plainly as I can through the medium of the printed page. Fear not. I, the consciousness once awakened, will never leave you, and I know all things. If any lack wisdom, let him ask of God, and let him know that God is within himself, and that is the only point of contact he can possibly have with God. God within your own consciousness will supply you with every bit of information necessary, if you ask and are ready to be still at the same time. If you contemplate me, the I Am, as the God within, then you will know that the limitations of the human personality are broken. Be still. Let me reveal myself to you in a way that will cause you to know the allness of the kingdom here and now. And as we have borne the image of the earthly, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. This glorious change will take place when the new birth takes place, when man realizes that he is here and now a being of spirit and is willing to walk in new ways. What has a butterfly to do with the ways of a caterpillar? What have you to do with that from which you have evolved? Why turn back and imagine that you still have to rake over the difficulties overcome or not overcome? Why rehearse things of the past which belong to the caterpillar life? You are a new creature, and as surely as you bore the outpicturing of the consciousness of a creeping caterpillar, so you shall bear the image and the capacities of the butterfly. As surely as you have borne the image of the long-suffering human personality with its tremendous limitations, so you shall bear the image and have the capacities of the Son of God, of the living God. Dare you to take your good here and now? How silently the change must take place. Hid away in the cocoon of secrecy, the ugly, limited caterpillar goes its way with a whole avalanche of condemnation, hatred, limitation, and other difficulties. It is not announced to the world that he will transform himself, or else the curious, disbelieving world would tear his cloak of secrecy from him and kill him. So will it be with you when you are ready to go into your cocoon of silence. I can bring to you a greater change than that which happens to the caterpillar. When you are ready, I will do the work. When you can be still and are ready to loose everything that has to do with the caterpillar, then I will make the transformation. But if you, in your heart, imagine that you shall be transformed for the sole purpose of rushing about, calling attention to the fact that you were once a caterpillar and are now a butterfly, and therefore great and wonderful, you may stay in your shell of secrecy from now on, and nothing will happen. I am not concerned with the telling of truth, but with the revelation of its boundless and priceless glories. Be still. O beloved, presently you shall be lost in the immensity of this glorious power, and the trifling events of the human personality will be so much thistledown before the hurricane. To your opened eyes you will see that such wondrous fields of attainment lie ahead, that the village you are leaving must be wiped out of memory. Be still. Let me reveal myself. Let me tell you something. Let me fill you with the spirit of the fire and water, and let me send you forth into expression, a burning flame of revelation, and a thirst-quenching fountain of life. You, the little insignificant thing that you are, or you, the great pride-swollen manifestation that knows so much, or has so much, or bears such a wonderful name and are covered with fame. You who read, throw off the mantle of this human self and lose yourself in me. Then you will know of the limitless blessings and freedom of the Son of the living God. Do you hear? You who read this page. Yes, you.